Good day, everyone, and a warm welcome to you all. And on behalf of the Diversity and Inclusion Council of KPC and its subsidiary companies, I'd like to thank you all for taking the time to join us for our online session today to celebrate two occasions, namely the International Women's Day 2021 and the Kuwait National Day celebrations, which we just marked just a week ago. These two occasions give us a fantastic opportunity to celebrate the long history Kuwait has with gender diversity, both in the oil sector and in other fields across the country. I myself am very proud of the contributions that women have made historically in the country and continue to make going forward in developing Kuwait. We in Kuwait are not short of role models in this field, and today we have a fantastic lineup of women of achievement whose contributions across many diverse backgrounds are a wonderful example of how diverse Kuwait is in many sectors. Our session today, we have distinguished speakers such as Mrs. Hind Sabih and Mrs. Wafa Al-Gatami, representing a viewpoint from external to the oil and gas sector, and of course Mrs. Maha Mulahsin Turkate and Mrs. Husniya Hashim from the oil and gas sector to give us sort of an overview from a KPC umbrella perspective. Lastly, we have Mrs. Maali Al-Asrousi, and just a note of caution, she is having some challenges for the connectivity and the reliability of the connection with Yemen, which is where she's based currently. So just a word of caution, we may lose Maali at the end of the session. In case we do, we will use the extra time to take a few extra questions from the audience. Today, our sessions will be moderated by two of our young stars, some of the most capable talent we have within the oil and gas sector and the K companies in Kuwait. It's Anwar Al-Awadi and Farah Abdurrahim. So I hope everyone enjoys the session, and I sincerely hope that future generations will make use of the lessons learned and the words of wisdom that we're going to hear from our professional women and take inspiration from the talks that we're going to hear today. So with that, I will hand over to our first session, Mrs. Hind Sabih, and the session is moderated by Anwar Al-Awadi. Enjoy.
Good afternoon. Thank you all for joining today. This is Anwar Al-Awadi from PIC, and I would like to take this moment and express how honored I am to be here today and interview inspiring women who have paved the way for tomorrow's female leaders. Starting with the inspiring Mrs. Hind Sabih, who holds a bachelor degree of science in computer and statics. Mrs. Hind is currently a member at the Supreme Petroleum Council and of course headed a number of key management positions. Maybe the most notably of them were being the Minister of State for Development and Planning Affairs and being the Minister of Social Affairs and Labor. Such a great journey filled with challenges and achievements, of course. With that, I ask all of you to give your full attention and help me in welcoming one of the most powerful women politicians in Arab governments, according to Forbes Middle East, Mrs. Hind Sabih. Mrs. Hind.
Good afternoon for everybody, and I thank actually KBC to let me one of the shareholders with them in this event. I'm really appreciate their invitation, and the Kuwaiti women and women in all over the world something. Thank you.
Thank you. It's such an honor to have you here today. Okay, so let's talk about beginnings a bit, Mrs. Hind. How have Mrs. Hind Sabih become the person we all know today? What shaped your character, contributed to such charisma, and carved your remarkable political and professional journey?
Firstly, at that date, Kuwaitization was still started. So you are working with all kind of foreigner. So to show yourself or to let yourself have a position in that time, you have to work very hard. So I can say what shaped my character is actually I was working very hard and everything. I didn't work only on the time. I have to give more time. This is one. Second, I have to respect all work ethics. I accept it or I don't accept it. I have to work. I have to accept it. Third things that I work with all the friends or my colleagues in the same department. So actually, and I learned experience from each job. And I have to tell this story that I have 2 hours. I didn't have anything to do, so the secretary he's binding all the files. I noticed that he's binding it tidy, very good. So I asked him. He learned me something. Maybe everybody will laugh on it, but he was making the paper on the binding on a very straight line. And I learned it from till today. I remember that because each time I am binding each paper in that file. So every single thing you do, it will give you an experience. Except I see now the youth is sometimes they don't accept any type of work. I think accept any type of work. It will give you some experience. It will give you relations. And in the first 3 to 5 years, you have to work very, very hard, no matter what obstacles, no matter there is allowance or not, no matter there is reward or not, because you will gain a very high experience. It will, you will benefit from it after.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yes.
That's 100% right. And it's interesting how we can learn from different members of the team. That's 100% right. So, talking about your political side a bit, you vowed to reform and correct past mistakes in the government entities under your supervision. Reforming path, of course, is never easy. So, we all remember that Parliament grilling session to you in capacity of Minister of State for Economic Affairs and Labour back in 2018. What are your reflections on that experience?
I can it was very hard experience, but I think I gain a lot of experience, especially from political side, because I was working only on a technical side. When I was appointed as a minister, I learned a lot about how dealing with politics, how dealing with even member of parliament, even how to organize your achievement, which is according to the political environment. As you know, I have 4 grilling on my 5 years in that position, but it gives you advantage of to be more stronger and stronger actually. And I cannot say it's my achievement. No, it's with all the member in both ministries that achievement was. I thank them from here because they were supporting me. Also, all the members in councils of ministries and his the emir. Why you have all this support? Because you are doing it on a right way. So there is 3 things you have to put it in your mind. I can say this in Arabic, excuse me for non-Arabic people. لا تبغ لا تخاف. You have to do your thing and you are in a trust that you are right. This is one. Don't do any benefit from that position so you can be more stronger, so they will not find anything on you. Third, don't be afraid. If you be afraid from losing the chair, then you are dead. If you are in that position, you have to be strong, that I'll do what I have to do for the benefit of my country, the benefit for the people, for the benefit of the system, and whatsoever will be, I don't care about that position. This is will give you more actually stronger, and this is can be done actually. I was in other positions. All this is my, I started it from when I was head of section. Then I grew on till I was under secretary, then to as a minister. But I was doing this with confidence. Any person see you in a confidence way, and he knows he cannot find anything on you on while you are working, it will give you strength. You can pass everything it happened to you.
Definitely, trusting yourself is very crucial. I do agree, and I am sure that it was a great transformational experience that made you grow and develop as a leader. So, in 2 minutes, any concluding thoughts from your side, maybe some advice to our audience embarking on their leadership path?
And my advice is that starting their job, they have to work with they can work with a group. Start with yourself. Don't ask anybody about coming early in the morning or doing their job. Put a target for yourself. You put a target for yourself without. I know, especially in the oil sector, you have targets and you have KPIs and these things. But put your if they didn't put your for yourself, you will succeed, and you in 1, 2, 3 years you will find yourself in a very highly positioned and stronger, because you learn a lot from your work.
100%, 100%. And we do have one question from the audience. Let me read it out to you. It says, as a woman, how do you find Kuwait current community support to women progression in business? This is from Ziad Al-Ouda.
Actually, I've got all the support. I from my family, from my friends. Even my friends, they put the time. It suits me to gather. From everybody actually. I got anywhere I go, they support me. They give me a good push that I continue in my way. So I think in Kuwait, the whole society is supporting women. It needs that she has to be convinced of and trust of herself and her capability. That's all. Thank you.
Of course, of course. Thank you very much for sharing your success journey with us. It was such an enjoyable conversation. We wish you all the best, Ms. Hashim. With that, I will pass the mic to my colleague, Ms. Farah, to introduce yet another inspiring woman. Farah.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Farah Abdurrahim, Strategic Planning Engineer at KIPIC. It is my honor to introduce our upcoming speaker, Mrs. Wafa Al-Ghitami, who is a pioneering economic figure with her successful contribution to the private businesses in Kuwait. Mrs. Wafa Al-Ghitami earned a Bachelor of Arts in Political Science and Public Administration from the American University of Beirut. She brings a wealth of experience in holding key positions, including member of the Board of Directors at the Kuwait Chamber of Commerce, making her the first female member since incorporation in 1959, the Deputy Chairman for the Board of Directors at the Kuwait Direct Investment Promotion Authority, Honorary Vice Chairman at the Kuwait Forex Association, General Manager of the 9 Pearls for General Trading and Contracting Company, Deputy Chairman for Al Marfa General Trading and Contracting Company, and member of the Women Cultural and Social Society, member of the Egypt-Kuwait Cooperation Council, and Vice Chairman of Kuwait Society for Handicap. In 2014, she received the Forbes Magazine Award for the 200 Most Powerful Arab Women and was ranked as the 4th in Kuwait and 46th in the Arab world. Thank you so much, Mrs. Wafa, for joining us today. We're lucky to have you.
Thank you very much for inviting me with these prominent women, all of them, mashallah. I'm proud to be with them in this session. And thank you for giving me this opportunity to share some of our point of view and ideas with all the group. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Wafa. So I will start with our first question, and it has to do with your organic and gradual career progression that was built upon merits and capabilities. So my question is that, do you think that this journey would have been easier or would have further flourished if you were a man? And could it have been as rich and solidly built if certain support or pro-female incentives were available to you at that time?
Well, Farah, my dear, I am from the people who believe that I get equal opportunity with men. I don't believe that we were, as a woman, that we didn't get our chance. As Hind just mentioned, it depends the support you get, whether you are a woman or a man, depends on what you do and how you achieve the targets or the goals that's set for you. I give you, for example, when I start working in the bank, I got the best support from my men superiors. I got a chance to be promoted, although there were men in the same rank as, or my grade. But because I proved myself, I got the chance to go to a higher rank. So I believe that it depends on the person, whether you are a woman or you are a man. But we as a woman, sometimes we track back because of certain obstacles, like being a mother, being a wife. You have sometimes to stay backward because of certain circumstances, and not everybody accepts this circumstance. There are some superiors understand the nature of the woman, the working woman. And some of the men, they don't accept their superior as a woman. And this has to do with the background and the culture. I don't want to work under a woman superior. But in my case, I didn't see any difference between me and any other man working in the opposite way. My superiors, men, were very helpful and give me all the chance to go up in the organization.
Excellent, Ms. Wafa. I'm glad your experience was so positive, and thank you for sharing that with us. Go on.
We are blessed in Kuwait that the women and the men getting the same salary. This is, you don't find it even in because I remember one time there was a banker when I was in the bank. He came from Germany. He was asking for Mr. Al-Khatami. When he came in, I didn't accept in Kuwaiti bank, and a treasurer of a bank is a woman. And I told him why we're getting the same salary. He said, is it true? And that was in the 80s. He said, in Germany, we still, the man get higher salary than the woman. So we are blessed. Why do we complain? We have equal salary. We have equal opportunities. I found this talking about women, they are not getting the right opportunity. I'm not with this. It depends on the person.
Yes, indeed, we are lucky Kuwaiti women, I would say. So moving on to the next question, Ms. Wafa, you have excelled at different business fronts and also keen in making a difference to the community throughout your NGO memberships, including Women Cultural and Social Society and Kuwait Society for Handicap, So can you tell us more about that and what drives you to give back to society despite competing like tasks and priorities?
Well, I think that part of it is the social responsibility for our society, and mainly about the handicap mostly, that I feel more able to give something as a vice chairman in the board of director, because this sector of the society, they need help, and we need to train them and help them to join the social life and to be used to get their good education, their training. They get the right attention from the society in order we are able to let them join and be fruitful and workforce even in different way for the society. So I think the Kuwaiti Handicap Society is doing a great job. And really, I thank the board and all the people who work in the Handicap Society before me. They established and they did a great job in helping these people. Also in the Red Cross, I am just helping in a way, because we can see the Kuwaiti Red Cross, they did a great job during the wars of each countries and helping in Kuwait during when there was nobody going out, they were distributing food and medicine. So this society is part of our social, I believe, our social responsibility for our country.
Yes, yes, indeed, of course. And if you can tell us maybe in 2 minutes, what advice would you give like our young professional women joining us today to further advance their careers and overcome any challenges that they may face in their career?
Really, my first advice is to start when you are in a job, you have to choose a job you love. This is the main thing. You have the certain job you are in. And then you have to set your goal and you have to work hard to achieve this goal. The other thing is that you have to have your self-confidence that you can do it. And you are looking forward to go higher in the organization. You are not here to spend time just to spend 2 or 3 years and you are thinking to quit. No, you have to have your career as a major thing that you want to work hard to learn more about it, to get what is new in your field, to get the right professional training. And also, I believe that all of us have a mentor that can guide us in a way. We get inspired by a person who is in a higher rank in any organization similar to the organization you're working in, and you want to achieve to be doing what he's doing. So I believe that working hard, loving what you do, have confidence in yourself, try to set your goals and try to achieve them, you will succeed, I'm sure of that.
Thank you so much for this fruitful advice. I will definitely apply it myself. I will now share a comment from the audience from Mr. Mohammed Al-Ataibi. And he says that he noticed recently in the report in GGC development that Kuwait has the highest ranking in unifying salaries between men and women. So what are your thoughts on this?
We have a difference in salary, he means?
No, unifying.
Yes,
the same salary.
I totally agree. Maybe the only difference is the يلا ساعدوني البدلات شنو؟
Incentives, I guess.
No, not only the incentives. For example, the man, he takes for his children allowance. Allowances, that's what I mean.
Allowances, yeah.
But the basic salary is equal for men and women in Kuwait, whether in government or in private sector. The only difference is maybe We have this allowance for housing for children. That's the only difference. Other than that, all the same.
Yes, that's true. And finally, I guess one more comment from or question from our audience is that in more than one occasion you expressed your pride in your father. Is it because his support to you and role in your life? Like, how do you describe that?
Well, he was a great man. That's what can I say. He supported us from the beginning to have the education, the right education, and what shall I say? And he always give us the support, and he always let us feel he's proud of what we are doing. And that's when I say about the confidence. He gave us the confidence. And frankly speaking, it is not only the father in a woman's life, maybe a brother, maybe a husband. Sometimes a husband gives a support to his wife by supporting her in going to a meeting, traveling, and this is a kind of sacrifice from the man, in my opinion. And not every man accepts such a sacrifice. So I feel that a father, a brother, a husband, a son, maybe all of them contribute for the success of a woman.
Okay, excellent. Thank you for sharing that. Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing that and for taking your time to join us today. You are definitely an inspiration to all of us. And I will now leave you with Ms. Anwar for our next speaker. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Farah and Mrs. Wafa. That was such a fruitful chat. I really enjoyed it. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we introduce another successful Kuwaiti woman, Mrs. Maha Mullah Hussein, who holds a bachelor degree in chemical engineering from University of California, United States. Mrs. Maha held a series of senior management positions in PIC before becoming chairman and management director in the year 2007 to 2013. During her journey at PIC, she led the negotiation of mega projects in Kuwait, including olefins tubes, styrene, and aromatics with potential partners. She was in charge of PIC's acquisition of Dow's ethylene glycol business in Canada and the formation of ME Global. On a personal note, I joined PIC in 2017, and even though I have never met Mrs. Maha, I've heard a lot about her from my experienced colleagues, talking about how strong she was, how dedicated to work, and how much success she brought to PIC. So I'm very excited to finally meet you, unfortunately not technically in person, but virtually in person. So please help me in welcoming Mrs. Maha Mullah Hussein. Mrs. Maha? Mrs. Maha, you're muted. Could you please unmute yourself?
Yeah, there is sound. Thank you, Nadia, and thanks for the organization team to invite us for this event with inspirational women. And look forward for your questions and further.
Okay, perfect. Is my voice clear?
Yeah, now clear, yes.
Okay, perfect. So let's go back to 1976 when you were still like a fresh engineer starting up your career at PIC. I think at salt and chlorine plant as the only female on site. That was quite challenging, I guess, to then becoming the highest ranked woman in the downstream sector across the Middle East. How do you remember both times and how different the two experiences were?
As you said, I joined BIC in small industrial facilities, the salt and the chlorine. I was the only woman at that time. When I mean only woman, not only technical, I was alone within men's society. But it gave me a courage to prove myself by hard working. And I need to mention also the men there was very supportive for my career. The environment or the culture at that time, that's 44 years back, it was more by a culture of self-training. So we train ourselves. There is no mentor, no coaching. I think the young generation now at all sectors, they're enjoying such
facility of mentoring and coaching, and you need to take advantage of this. In the beginning, I, of course, focus in building my technical capability on the facility, understanding the in and out of the facility. This was very important to be strong, that you understand the work process where you are working. I moved to the project also execution side of the BIC, and also took the opportunity to learn more about project execution and management. Everybody know at that time also BIC was, the environment was not performance-driven culture. Now you have this environment in the oil sector, and women, I believe they can strive more and excel in a performance-driven culture, because everything will be based in performance. Of course, moving up in the ladder, it was a different environment. Now BIC have a long-term strategy. So my experience now is focused in, the strategy was built on growing in petrochemical inside and outside Kuwait with international partner. And so my experience was in negotiation with the international partner to bring the best for BIC and Kuwait, in building capability of Kuwaitis, young Kuwaitis, to be able to implement that strategy. And I'm proud to see you and others non-Kuwaiti in BIC now, and also the leadership in BIC all is a Kuwaiti with capability, the right capability to implement the strategy. The experience also up in the ladder is more also in the performance, in setting targets for your organization, and driving people to achieve those targets. So that's the two different experiences that I have.
Definitely, definitely. And I think challenges, experiences help us push out of our comfort zones and, of course, help us grow. Moving to the next question, let's talk about the 90s a bit. You led PIC's planning function, during which PIC's ambitious growth strategy got defined. Such efforts resulted in successful ventures and major projects inside and outside of Kuwait, marketing up PIC as one of today's large players in petchem industry. What made you excel as the strategies leading such, handling such turnaround journey? Is it the clear vision, the knowledge, the experience, the teamwork?
Well, first thing I think in the 90s, I think mid-90s, BIC was the first company in the oil sector to develop a long-term strategy, and why I was responsible for such exercise. Understanding the long-term strategy of the organization you are working is very important. So I really encourage everyone in the oil sector, where you are, is to understand the long-term strategy of your organization, and also to understand the role, your role and the department role in implementing that strategy. This is very important. Second thing, that I accepted a major challenges. I don't say no to a challenge. Sometimes people fear from accepting things, but I'll give you two examples. As I said, we were the first in the oil sector to develop a long-term strategy. At that time, even KBC, they don't have vision, they don't have long-term strategy. It's something new to the oil sector. So I started this as an initiative with of course, at that time with the leader of BIC, and we aligned all BIC leaders team to develop the long-term strategy. So this is one challenge that I took. The second one was, from that strategy, BIC sure wanted to redesign all the work process. It was a 12th process. We divided BIC, and we thought at that time we need to redesign them to the best practice internationally. And I still remember the advisor, even the CEO, Mr. Nader Sultan at that time of KBC, They asked me the question several times, are you ready to go ahead with that journey of redesigning the 12 process? I accepted that challenge, and we launched what we call at that time a DANA project. We brought the best practice in how to manage HSE, how to manage our human resource, how to plan, how to conduct our maintenance and our operation. And we brought the best practice to BIC and implement that project. It was a challenge, but I accepted the challenge. And this is something that I request from you, or I encourage you to accept any challenge that's given by your boss or whatever. Of course, keep learning is something that I continue. Keep learning by asking, by reading. This is something that I encourage also to do, and I kept doing that in my career.
Yes, I fully agree with that, especially the taking risks and challenges part. It definitely are key to success.
I think also maybe if I add the networking, huh?
Yeah.
Networking with your boss or your peers or your subordinate, this is something very important. Huh? It helped me a lot in going back. The DANA projects or the redesign projects also helped me because I was involved with everyone in BIC. So it created for me a big networking network within BIC. Everybody know me, everybody I know. So any support that I need is there. So networking is very important.
Yes, networking and teamwork are essential, definitely.
Yes.
Now, ending up, reflecting back, what would be the personal trait that contributed the most towards such a productive career?
I already mentioned about long-term strategy. I keep talking about long-term strategy, especially for the oil sector. Huh? You need to understand your position as an employee in that strategy. What's your role and what's your department role? I remember in the long-term strategy, I know what every word in that strategy, in that document, what does it mean? What every sentence means for us as BIC. And you need as a young employees to understand your strategy. Helping others is something that I encourage you to do. Sometime an employee just stay in his department, do whatever assignment he do. But helping others, create also friends with others, and create also a support for you later. I remember when I was young even, I heard in the marketing department, they wanted to do some scenarios and they are stuck in how to do it. I offered for them to help them and develop the scenarios, and it really increased my image within them and give me their support later if I need. Another example in IT solution at that time in the 90, I think before invasion, in the 80s, there was no PCs everywhere. We have only the central computer for the operation. Then there was two guys just doing scenarios for the fertilizer, how to run the fertilizer plant in different scenario of gas from Iraq and gas from Kuwait wells. And they were using their calculators to do the scenarios, day and night spending. I went to a one man having a BC in BIC at that time. He was holding the management of information technology. I told them, can we develop something for them, to develop a program for them to help them to do the scenarios? And we did it day and night. We spent 1 week develop that program. Helping others, it gives you support. So I encourage you to help others. This is something I did in my career, and I think it came back positive on me. Of course, work ethics, something that I'm proud to be. The fairness is something that fairness by performance is not by I prefer this one or this one. You have to be fair by performance, of course. So many things that I would encourage, like teamwork, as you said, aligned team within the organization is very important, especially in difficult time. People tell me sometimes, how do you stand the difficult time of KDAW? Huh? I said, Alhamdulillah, I was having an aligned team within BIC. Huh? Me and my second line leaders was too much aligned that we stand together in this difficult time. Huh? You need to understand how teams work, forming and storming and norming and performing, so that you understand the team in your organization, how can they perform.
Definitely.
So you having aligned team is very important in the organization.
Yes, such great advices. We will sure apply to our career path. Thank you, Mrs. Maha. That was so enriching, and what a spectacular journey. We are extremely honored to have you today. We wish you every success.
Thank you.
With that, I will transfer the mic to Mrs. Farah again. Ms. Farah.
Farah, you're muted.
Sorry. Hello, everyone. Thank you, Mrs. Maha and Ms. Anwar, for the excellent advice that you provided us with. It is my honor now to introduce our upcoming speaker, Mrs. Husniya Hashim, who is a pioneering example of successful leadership and an inspiration for professional women, including myself. Mrs. Husniya earned a Bachelor of Science degree in Chemical Engineering from Kuwait University. She held executive positions in the Kuwait oil sector with a career shaped by a trail of successes. Mrs. Husniya held key leading roles in the Kuwait oil industry, including Deputy Chief Executive Officer of PIC, Vice President of Operations of KUFPIC, Deputy Managing Director of West Kuwait and then North Kuwait assets of KOC, and was instrumental in achieving production levels of 500 and 730,000 barrels per day, respectively. Mrs. Husniya had several board memberships, including Chairman of the Board of Kuwait, Deputy Chairman of the Board of KNPC, Board Member of PIC, Board Member of the Council of the College of Science, Kuwait University, Member of the Board of the Kuwait Drilling Company. In 2014 to 2017, she was ranked by Forbes' most powerful top 30 women in the world. In 2019, she was awarded the SPE Distinguished Membership and was recognized in the International Women's Award ceremony under the patronage of His Highness the Emir of Kuwait. She is co-author of the acclaimed book Learned in the Trenches on leadership and resilience. Mrs. Husniya chaired and founded the Professional Women Network, which is a first of its kind in the Middle East aimed at promoting and empowering professional women in Kuwait's oil sector, including myself. Thank you, Mrs. Husniya.
Thank you, Farah. Thank you, the Diversity and Inclusion Council of KPC, for inviting us with a distinguished colleague to this forum, and I would like to congratulate all the women for the International Women's Days today.
We are definitely lucky to have you, Mrs. Husniya. Thank you for taking the time and joining us. Perhaps you could provide us with some insight on your journey in the oil and gas sector as a chemical engineer, starting her career in reservoir management at KOC, and then gradually taking forward steps along the professional ladder to executive positions. What were the memorable moments, the key challenges? Can we shed some light on your groundbreaking efforts in the advancement of women in the oil sector in Kuwait through your involvement with PWN?
Thank you, Farah. I'd like to start, as Maha said, I'm convinced that it's the challenge we face that are the critical for our growth and success, and the source of our strength. Unless we have those kinds of challenge in our career, the the easy thing never give us any success. It's easy life. So I believe that the moment that we face a challenge, that is the moment, that difficult moment. It's a difficult moment, but we learn a lot. So I will focus on the difficult part of my journey. I will not go through the easy part. As Kuwaiti women, we all have a set of values, and our values for all is the loyalty of Kuwait, and we are total commitment to our country. So as a young engineer, I joined KOC, Kuwait Oil Company, as a chemical engineer. Then I grew in this company as petroleum engineer. It was a difficult period. We were only 8 engineers at that time in 80s. And going to the field, and at that environment, it was, for example, if we want to go to North Kuwait, it takes 2 to 3 hours. If it's Southeast Kuwait, it's more than 1 hour. And there was a huge challenge to learn from the field. But we passed those challenge by really hard work, by our commitment to our colleague. And at that time, there was a lot of support really from our superior. As Akhti Wafa said, even our management, team leaders, senior, there was huge support for female at that time. So it was difficult really, because our numbers is few, but we got a lot of support. So I learned a lot during my career. I would like to share with you some difficult part of my career that shaped my really career and give me power and strength, is the invasion. During the invasion, after we celebrated our liberation, nearly more than 700 wells were burned and in fire, and a lot of wells were closed. So as a team of a few number of Kuwaitis, because all the foreigners were left Kuwait during that time, in March, April, I joined KOC, and our goal was how to bring our production back. At that time, production of Kuwait was only 200,000, only for electricity of the country. And we need to bring our production back for the revenue of generation for our country. So I had 2 children. One is maybe 6 months, and the other one is 2 years. I left those with my mother at that time, and I were going to the work from 6 o'clock in the morning, which was night, because all the sky in Kuwait was dark. 6 o'clock in the morning, it's like 12 o'clock in the night. So it's a dark environment, 6 and come back 6. So we were, there was no office even for the main office was damaged by Iraqi. They burned it before they left Kuwait. So we were gathering in a small building, which called Anglo School, how to bring our production back to the country. So we were few. We worked as a team. We never said I. We always say we. How we can bring our. We work as a strong team, with one spirit of achieving our goal for the country. So I never forget that moment in February 1992, we brought our production of 2 million barrels per day in February. That was a lot of happiness and a lot of success for the country, and everybody was celebrating that success. So achievement, unless you achieve, when you achieve something, I think there is a moment you should celebrate that with your team. Those moments will encourage the team to give more and more. Regarding the support I got when I leave home and I leave my children with my mother and with my father and with my husband, unless they were supporting me day and night to stay long time in my work, I couldn't do my work. So the support of family, if it's mother, father, husband, brother, sister, that's a great success for each female to succeed their career. So I was lucky to have this moment that I got a huge support from my family. I grew in the company. Then I became a deputy managing director, the first female as a deputy managing director for one of the assets, which is with Kuwait, which was even the border between us and Saudi was included with me. I was going to the border and for Wafra to production. Then I became deputy managing director for North Kuwait, which was a huge challenge to bring the production of that asset from 400 to 750 when I left North Kuwait in 2013. The challenge I faced that this asset was very difficult. I worked with my team as one family. I think unless you build the team and work with the team, I was visiting my team in North Kuwait in Ramadan and Eid every per week. North Kuwait is nearly 1.5 hours from Kuwait City. At that time, there was no highway with that speed highway. So it takes 1 or 2 hours to reach there. So I believe with the teamwork, I encourage my team. When you encourage the team, you got a lot of inspiration and a lot of new ideas. One of the ideas, can I share? One of my colleagues, we had a project with nearly 300 million dinar project. He came with a small idea that we can reduce that cost. Then I took that idea and we discussed it with a lot of ministers of electricity and how we can bring that project in place. So we changed that project to a project that we took the water from Sabia, which was thrown in the desert, in the sea, which is environmentally healthy for Kuwait. And that project, we reduced the project nearly 300 million dinar for Kuwait. We saved, the project became 50 million only from 350 million a project. So unless you encourage your staff, you will create a new culture which is innovation. Those young generation, I think they have a power of innovation. They have a power of creativity. So the leader should encourage, should be with them, should listen to them, should hear their issues. So that's what I'd like to mention. I think I took more than my time.
No, excellent, Mrs. Husniya. We really enjoyed your inspiring story. I would like to share a question for our audience today, if you would allow me. Ms. Sheikha Bahbahani is asking that oil sector is pioneering in the women empowerment field in Kuwait. However, have you participated in any initiatives, campaigns on a national scale regarding women empowerment on issues such as education, political involvement, violence against women, that sort of thing?
For initiative for women empowerment, I'd like to first share with whatever we have done in Kuwait Oil Company. We have established a professional women network, which was established in 2009. I was headed that committee. That committee was a pioneering committee among even the Middle East, the first country that established in the oil sector a professional women network was a Kuwait Oil Company. So I'm very proud that Kuwait was the first initiation of the Professional Women Network. That committee, it has a lot of achievement that I felt very proud of from 2009 until 2017, when I left the oil sector. We have done a lot of achievement. I can share with you some of those achievements. It's achievement for the women in oil sector, but it's achievement for all the women, because there's a lot of lesson learned from this committee. It's not in Kuwait. We were pioneering this initiative even in Aramco and in ADNOC, in Bahrain, in Qatar, and in Oman, in the oil sector. And they took a lot of initiative and a lot of achievement that we have done for their companies. One of the biggest achievements which I want to highlight is we could change a law which is 6/2011, two articles of that law, 22 and 23, which prohibit women to work in the shift, and in the second one in the hazardous area. I would like to thank الأخت هند الصبيح Ahmed. She was the catalyst of that change, because that law is with social affairs, and we struggled for 5 years to change these articles of the law. And by meeting her staff once, the undersecretary and her team, with her support, we could change those two items or articles of the law. So today, even the female workers goes to the field, but this law will support them if anything happens. Hazardous area, yes, our field, our area, our business is hazardous. And from that law, women shouldn't go, but we used to go from, God knows, 20, 30, 40 years. But if something happened, at least we protected ourselves by changing this law. When we compare ourselves to other countries, I have presented that in so many occasions, they feel that Kuwait is excellent in supporting the female by even changing the law. So that is, if we say it's nearly any politics, to change the law is not an easy. I dealt with politics, yes, because our work in K companies, we have a strong union, which we deal with them every day. We have strong, even parliament member always come for some support. So I dealt with politics during my career. I don't know if I answered Jeff's question.
No, actually, you did a great job in answering her question, and we definitely acknowledge your numerous efforts in empowering women. And we thank you so much for taking the time and joining us today. Your journey has been very inspirational, I'm sure, to everyone attending here today. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And now I will leave you with Mr. Anwar with our next guest.
Thank you, Ms. Faraha and Mrs. Hasniya. That was very inspiring. And now for our final guest, who is such a courageous, noble woman, Mrs. Maali Al-Asrisi, who holds a degree in tourism planning and management from Virginia Commonwealth University in Richmond. She is currently Yemen Country Director at the Direct Aid Organization. She is the only woman from the GCC and the Arab country to head an office at a humanitarian organization in a high-risk area in a war zone. Mrs. Al-Asrisi won a number of accolades, including the 100 Most Powerful Arab Women in 2015 by ArabianBusiness.com. In 2017, she received the United Arab Emirates Arab Hopemakers Award. She was also a co-recipient of the 2019 Annual Conference Award from the Gulf International Forum. She leads over 90 campaigns that help more than 1 million people with the support of 1,400 volunteers, out of whom 70% are women. So far, she has put together 647 youth scholarships and 51 water supply projects for 450,000 beneficiaries. As of today, more than 2 million people benefited from the project, which she managed and implemented in Yemen and other countries. If I could say one word about the CV, is brave. Such a brave woman. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome with me Mrs. Maali Al-Aswasi. Mrs. Maali.
Thank you, Anwar, and thank you to KIPIC for this forum, and I'm so happy to join. I guess the organizer were really scared that I will not be able to join because we had a severe airstrike yesterday. I don't know if you can know from the news, and I'm so happy to join you on this wonderful day, the Women's International Day, and I'm alive, alhamdulillah Rabbi, talking from Sana'a.
Welcome to Kuwait virtually. So Mrs. Maali, we understand your story began at an early age. Can we hear more about the beginnings and your volunteering work when you were a child and during Iraqi invasion? What sparked your passion towards helping others?
The volunteer started actually when from the house, from the family, from the parents. To start from home. So I encourage everybody to really encourage their kids, their brothers and sisters, the younger male and female in the house to really involve in volunteering. This starts with the family. And alhamdulillah, my parents actually adopted other people, my brothers and sisters, we have adopted in our house. So it started from the seed, starts from the family. Then next it comes the school, which encourage us to implement volunteer work, whether cleaning the schools, whether planting, whether donating to help others. So it started from school. Then when the invasion occurred, I was 14 going to 15. And I saw all the drama and really, really sad things that happened to Kuwait. So we have to leave Kuwait during the invasion and went to Kingdom of Bahrain and stayed there. And I did not stop volunteering, but I learned. I joined Red Cross and Red Crescent to aid people when the liberation will occur. And also putting off fires. So when the liberation occurred, alhamdulillah, they told us within 48 hours we have to enter Kuwait. And since I was under the age of 18, they did not allow me to join the Red Cross and Red Crescent. And but I was really lucky that my mom actually took the same training with me, and they told since she has a guardian, she can join the group, the Red Cross and Red Crescent. We entered from Al-Ahmadi side, from southern Kuwait, and I remember the first thing I saw is the tanks and the wells, the burning of the wells, which we can feel the heat in our cheeks. It was we were really close to that. So it was really shocking, and we arrived to, I remember, Mubarak, and the first thing I saw is someone who's actually just been killed, and he still has, he's still alive, but he was really bleeding. So this is the first thing I saw, and I have to help and aid people because still there were some Iraqis inside Kuwait which did not actually left with the rest of the troops. So this is the shocking things that I saw: dead bodies in the garden and Shaheed Garden, and we saw like some people who are actually been crossed in some walls of homes, and it was really sad. What I saw when I was 14 going to 15 was really something that my age should not see. And I stood and said to myself that I will keep helping and volunteering everywhere in the world, and as long as I have a heart that's pumping, as long as I have soul and energy and I am able to help, I will keep volunteering and helping others for the rest of my life. That was the first thing that I said I will do when I was 50.
That's very great, and that experience certainly have made you stronger. So let's talk about 2009 a bit and what happened at that year. You left home, a job, a business, and a whole life at peace and comfort with family and friends. What was the moment that made you decide that you will dedicate your life to helping others, and especially in Yemen? Can you tell us this in 1 minute, please?
Yes. Regarding that, let's go 2 years before 2009. Before I decide to move, I entered Yemen as a consultant, as a paid consultant, not as a volunteer. So entering Yemen was not a volunteer mission. It was actually a project that I will implement, and from some of the multimillionaire guy who actually wanted to implement a project in Yemen, and he wanted me to consult it whether this project will happen or not. And it was to help society, to help women, to help girls to get education, or a project that they can implement and sustain themselves without us giving them money or monthly salary, or as a orphans or as a woman. He want them to actually work and sustain themselves. So this is how I started. When I saw all the drama in Yemen, women are selling their body for less than $1 to feed their kids. A person who become blind because he cannot actually pay for 30 KD, which is $100, to can take the cataract from the eye, or a girl who actually brought a 1A plus in her high school, but she cannot go to school because she cannot afford 10 KD a monthly for the books and the transportation. All these stories that I actually interact with make me, I mean, it's really sad. And I said, I want to do something. So I started a small project to help female to continue their education with the support of friends and family. It started as an initiative. Then it became an organization, a local organization. Then I said I will move physically to Yemen, because being working in the government and having a company in Kuwait, we always say if you have two ra'il balain shadab, let's say this in Arabic, and if you have like two things that you want to do, you have to choose one. And I chose to move, but seriously, I wasn't knowing why I will move. صح, I took the decision, but I didn't know that I will face death. I will be actually in jail, or people will drag me, or I will survive under airstrike. I did not put all this in my mind. I talked to some mentors, some really good mentors in society and civil society in Kuwait and other countries, to give me some advices whether to move or not. And all of them, they said, you as a woman can't do it. Each person I went to were in the NGOs in Kuwait, especially the people who are a little bit following some religious practice, all of them told me, you cannot do it. You don't have mahram, you can do it as a woman. And every time they said to me, you can't do it, I hear it, you can do it. Every time they told me that, I hear it, yes, you can do it. So I took the decision against my family, culture, putting everything. I resigned from government, I closed my company, and I said, this is my mission. I find myself, and this is the mission of my life, and I will fight to help others until the end of my life. It's the same promise I gave myself when I was 15.
And what a great noble mission, Mrs. Al-Asawi, such a great mission. Now for the last question, it is said that give a man fish and you feed him for a day. Teach a man to fish and you feed him for a lifetime. You have an interesting philosophy of offering most sustainable help through empowering people to be able to make a difference in their own lives. Why are you focusing on women and youth especially? In 1 minute, please.
Focusing in women and youth, they're the seed. The women are the seed, the real seed of each society. The woman is a mother, also a wife. She knows exactly how to raise the family, what's the need of the society, what's the need of everything around her. That's why I focus more of a woman. I always say, if you want to invest in a society, invest in a woman. The women are the seed of the society, and next comes the youth. So I focus more on this because I know that women usually care about educating her kids. If you can see, like most of the beneficiaries now in all the conflict zone areas and all under poverty line countries are women. So when you give her, if you give her any small thing, she can make a big difference. They always say, and if you give a woman, let's say vegetable, she will make for you a salad. If you give her something, just ingredients, she will make the cake. So women are have, mashallah, yani, wonderful energy, and they're multi-purpose, and they can do anything. And I believe with my experience here in Yemen, as a woman, if I weren't a woman, I will not be successful as today. Because women here in Yemen, with the conservative society, I can talk to women and enter their homes, know what's their needs, serious needs. I can talk and negotiate with the militia, I can talk with the leaders, the Islamic leaders, with everybody, negotiating with everybody. They will not resist me. If I were a man, I will not be able. So one of the key success that helped me to make a big difference in Yemen is being a woman.
Definitely, definitely. You are a great example of strong, courageous, and brave, and I am very proud of you, and I think all Kuwaiti women are proud of you. Thank you so much for this, and I think that's it for me. I'm going to transfer the mic to Mrs. Nadia now to conclude.
Well, we wish we had more time. Unfortunately, we would really love to hear more of your stories. Thank you for sharing your stories with us. You've been such an inspiration to myself and I'm sure to the whole audience from any age and any gender. So we do appreciate the time that you've taken to join us. And I'm sure if we were in a real event, you'd hear the round of applause. So I give you a virtual round of applause and thank you very much for being with us. And I thank the moderators as well and the behind the scenes team. And hope everybody has a fantastic, happy International Women's Day. Take care, everyone. Thank you.
Shukran.